I will admit there's some minor errors on here, and I will correct those soon, but it gives you a general outline or a general flow of what a targeted individual is and what they encounter in their daily lives. Starting from the left side of this diagram, you'll see I'm showing a random person, and these people are nominated by the CIA, the FBI, the DHS, other government agencies, and unfortunately, it can even be random. Many times it involves particular activities such as a whistleblower within a government agency or a political activist. Other people that we know have been targeted are labor union leaders and scientists that won't toe the government line. So what we're finding is there's a broad-based diversity and background to these folks that are being selected for this. But the first thing they do is here in the United States, they put them on the FBI's Terror Screening Center database. And from there, that feeds into other databases and allows it eventually goes to Interpol and NATO and a number of other organizations internationally. But the first step is the individual's name is entered through the FBI onto the terror watch list. And there's a number of phases. Nothing happens right away. The CIA gets involved. Their division called Psychological Operations gets involved to identify key family members that are part of the person's support group. It's generally family members, but it could be friends. And those are the people that they target to manipulate. And I won't go into too much detail on that, but I think most TIs will know what I'm talking about. The folks that set that up and design that are the CIA in Denver, and they've got a group called PSYOPs, or Psychological Operations. They are the ones that figure out which of your family members are your support team, your support group, and they're the ones that they go after with the microwave manipulation and the mind manipulation that was learned through MK Ultra. So the next step, without getting into too much detail, I'll briefly cover this. You'll see how this information feeds to the Fusion Center, and soon after, the individual begins to experience gang stalking and the breakdown of their family relationships. And it's very disturbing on a number of levels. It does meet the definition of psychological torture under the Geneva Conventions. That's very important for legal matters and lawsuits. Under Article 32 of the Geneva Convention, psychological torture is a war crime and punishable by up to and including the death penalty. So that's how serious it is. So the folks in the CIA and the FBI and the DHS that are involved, they can be brought before the International Criminal Court and charged with war crimes. It's a felony offense here in the United States and a war crime punishable by the death penalty. Very, very serious. From the Fusion Center, the Air Force Space Command, which is headed by General John Raymond, gets involved. These folks are located mostly at Schriever Air Force Base. They control more than 175 satellites in orbit. The most, or all of those satellites have weapons on board. The most important satellite constellation group that they use is called the Navstar system, the Navstar GPS system. That's used for tracking you. And I've got a separate diagram that we'll show in a bit to show how that particular satellite system works, and the Air Force Space Command uses it to track everyone. Very important emphasis here. Not just targeted individuals. Everyone in the United States is currently being tracked by a satellite constellation group called Navstar. These are very high-speed computers. The latest generation has 8 antennas. It can track, according to my best estimates, about 800 million people at once from one satellite. Amazing feat of engineering, all done through the Air Force Space Command near Colorado Springs. So the weapons that are involved, one of them is called a Vercator. This, again, is also fairly recent information. For more than 30 years now, TIs have been experiencing these satellite microwave attacks, and Harlan Gerard in Philadelphia was one of the first folks to identify it and say specifically, this is coming from a satellite. And the weapon is called a Vercator. It was first launched in 1987, and it's part of what's called the Thunderbolt system. It was manufactured by a company called Titan Corporation in San Leandro, California. It has since been acquired by a company called L3 Technologies. I encourage those that want to research that to look it up. So some of the other technologies that are involved include the cell tower system that's operated by a number of cell tower companies. Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, they're all involved. They've all got their own cell towers. And every time I've gone to a new city, I have determined